Fuckers.
Woo woo!
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. We are here, Dualistic Unity Real with Jackie and Amanda. And it is the Friday is going quite nicely, I would like to say. And we were just chatting before this about the upcoming California retreat at Big Bear Lake and how the house and the property looks gorgeous. I'm so excited to get there. It's coming by so quickly, Jackie.
I know, like literally, it's April 11th through 15th in Big Bear Lake. The lineup that we got going already, it's going to be an amazing group of people, and just I'm so excited for the conversation and just the shared experience that is to be had in such a beautiful location where everyone's just being themselves 100%, and you don't owe anybody shit, and you can do whatever the fuck you want, and you don't have to clock in, you know, just for a few days. And oh my gosh, I was reflecting on my last retreat experience in Vermont, and just how relaxed and how clear I felt after the 4 days of just like what's actually going on. I think like because I was so separated from my life and the people I'm usually around and like my usual narrative. And some substances were involved. We were microdosing the whole weekend, and I just was able to reflect on things and see things from a new perspective in a way that helped me. I feel like it propelled my growth. Like it just revealed so much of me that I hadn't recognized fully before. And I'm not trying to like talk it up or anything. I'm not promising this is going to happen for you. Like you might go there and you might be hella uncomfortable, and you probably will be. We all will be. And that's okay. And it's probably the most open any group of people will be about how uncomfortable they are. Right? So it can't really get you down when you can just be like, this is what I'm going through, and the other person will look at you and be like, yeah, I've been there. I'm there with you right now. Or like, you know, it's just amazing. And no guarantees involved. It'll be whatever it is at the time, and that's the most exciting part about it. So, and I'm just because the weather is so nice out today. I'm in San Diego right now. I'm like looking for in April. It's going to be beautiful. I already know.
Oh my goodness, yes. And in the comments, somebody asked, are we going to get a Jackie and Amanda episode at the California retreat? And I think the answer is maybe. Like legit, maybe. Like, I don't
No
want to say
promises.
definitely yes and definitely no, but like that would be so cool because we've never recorded an episode live, like together, like in the same room together. And so I think that would be really cool for us to record an episode while we're in the same home.
I know. I look forward to that so much. It's crazy. I've only seen you in person once at the retreat that I went to, but it's like I still feel so close to you. But that'll just be such an amazing time. And I don't want to make any promises. Maybe we'll just want to be in the moment, but also I'm down. Or we can do like all four of us with Andrew and Ray too. We could do like a in-person roundtable. That would be really fun. Wait, that would be really fun. And you could just raise your hand in person.
Right, I raised my hand. Quiet down a minute. Quiet down a minute. Oh.
Enough of you. My light turned off.
What?
Oh my god, I think it died. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. I have my other lamp from before. But this is where we noticed.
Old, we call that one old reliable.
I'm gonna plug that in actually. Wait, no. It's
Oh my,
lost. Whatever. I'm not focused on that right now.
no, 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 but you did just buy a new light. And so Jackie and I were chatting about how we have been upgrading our gear and like getting new things. And that was the new light that you just got. And I was looking up lights like yesterday. Like, is that the light that Jackie got? I wonder.
Oh no! Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to
No,
send it to
no,
you.
no, no. I was. No, no. There's no hate in my window shopping game. We were browsing. We were happily browsing. Um, so no worries. But I was just like thinking about getting different lights and different gear because like it's just cool to have like a podcasting recording setup. And I could use it for anything. Oh, all of a sudden I want to remix the Temptations' greatest hits album. Here we come, and I'm going to record that with all my gear and get it up. But I just noticed in the comments, Jazz wrote, petition for a roundtable episode to wear Power Ranger costumes. I want to do this, and I want to learn like the moves that they did in the show, where it's like the arm moves, like or something like
Oh my
that.
god, I'm so down.
That would be cool.
I want to be the pink Power Ranger, dibs.
That's right. I could do any color except green. I just for some reason I don't want to be the Green Ranger. I could go yellow, I could go blue, red, black. I don't think there's any other colors like magenta or purple or anything like that. I think it's green is like the only other color.
Is there a yellow one?
I think oh yeah, there's definitely
You
a
would
yellow
play
one.
in the Yellow Ranger costume.
I was like, I could do yellow. I could do yellow.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, Andrew's down. Very much down. Go Power Rangers. Oh my god,
I love that
flashback.
idea. I love that idea of like having themed like podcast episodes where we dress up in theme. Like, and they don't like we could have a crazy hair day.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I think
And
that'd be fun just
crazy
for
hat,
no reason.
right?
Yeah.
Who could get the craziest hat?
Yeah, like a hat or like I don't know. Maybe where we write something dumb on our forehead or something. I'll put the
Crazy
bangs away.
glasses. Right.
Just because why not?
Oh my goodness. And absolutely act like a character because it's it's like why not? Like I have to put on my corporate costume for work. I was wearing like a plain shirt and I had a meeting today and I'm like, yeah, I wonder if they're gonna be upset that this is not like a button up shirt. Because sometimes your offices, they really want you to wear a very particular costume, but it's like, okay, so we're like, the concern for some of the wardrobe just seems totally unnecessary. And it's like, and that's when you have to do it. And so when it's like, when it's totally up to you, it's like, why not put on a fun costume?
Yeah, for my job, I have to wear a denim button-up shirt and black pants and black shoes. So it's not the most fun, but like I can wear, whatever earrings, makeup, hair I want. But at the same time, if we can go crazier, why don't we go crazy? And it's for the job because it would attract people's eyes more, Like there's another thing that they're like, wait, okay, they're really speaking facts right now, but why are they wearing cat ears or like something stupid like that? Or like, why are they wearing a strangely large hat?
That's right. Oh my
It's
God.
a business strategy if you think about it, and I'm like a master marketer.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Andrew came up with a challenge: dress up as Yoda and talk like him the whole episode.
No, you not. I don't know how to talk like Yoda.
I was just thinking that I'm like, damn, I don't know Star Wars enough to do that. And so
he has that
Star
one
Wars,
quote. He's like
something like that. It's like it feels like it's like reverse questions. Like
there's that quote, do or do not, there is no try.
Yes,
Right? I'm not even gonna attempt to say it like him.
It's like no, I definitely see I see an area for of interest. I see an area of interest. I'd like to learn more about the way that Yoda speaks because I'm down. I'm totally down for a challenge like that. Dressing like him. So it's like I could get away with like a monkish like robe,
Yeah, I think it's like a white robe. He's a Jedi master too, so you can wear his like robe. And then I think he had a green lightsaber, and then he's like, I don't know what kind of being Yoda is, to be honest with you.
Our Star Wars.
What is Yoda?
Right? What is Yoda? That's a philosophical question, madam, that you're asking. just spend each episode cosplaying a different character. Oh, snap.
Honestly, cosplaying is not for the weak. That's like real acting. Like
Mhm.
impersonating a character, like something from show. Yeah, people make fun of them, but like you can't do that. So
Mhm.
not that I'm defending well, honestly, I am defending cosplayers. I think people are into the things that they're into, and people that hate on them for it are just bored and boring.
Mhm. Mhm. It's true. It's just some people really transform, and I like the people that cosplay in like a new creative direction. Like when someone like when there was like female cosplayers that I had saw on, I don't know if it was Instagram or TikTok, and they had did like the female versions of like villains. And so there was like a female Darth Vader, and there was like a female version of the red guy that's in Star Wars that has like the double lightsaber that's red on both sides. I don't know his name, but a girl had
Darth
did that one.
Darth Maul?
Oh, that might be it. That does sound very familiar. And then someone did a female version of Magneto from X-Men. So cool. So cool to see that. I was like, that's right. Taking cosplay to the next level. Thank you very much.
Okay, we have intel on Yoda. He is a small green humanoid alien
Oh.
who is powerful with the Force and is a leading member of the Jedi Order until it's near annihilation.
Oh.
Yeah, they
Okay.
never say what planet he's from though, or whatever. Is he from that one planet where fuck the one where Luke did his Jedi training? If you know in the comments where he met Yoda, because I don't know what that planet was called.
Ray says
So
he's a sentient booger.
no, that was more Jabba the Hutt. Jabba the Hutt was a sentient booger for sure. I'm like, why is my Star Wars depth? I kind of know a lot about Star Wars. I
You
didn't
do.
really.
I was gonna say it is coming to the surface. I like it.
Oh my god. Yeah, we're on a good one today, Amanda. I love how lighthearted we're kicking off today.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, the pendulum swings, man. It's not always, why is life so hard? It sucks. Like, this sucks a big bag of hairy balls. This is terrible.
yeah,
And sometimes
honestly,
it's just light.
you know what's funny is that today is late, and it's funny because a lot of things are going wrong. Like today I had to go to the laundromat. Like I have a washer and dryer in my unit, but it broke. So then I had to go to the laundromat. And then a lot of things have happened also. Like I had a great morning. I went to brunch and went for a nice walk outside. But when I was on my walk, I stepped in gum. And so I have gum stuck to the bottom of my shoe. And I was like, oh yeah, I have gum. And I like tried to scrape it off. It's still there. And then I came in my house and I had the curtains open because it's nice out, but I closed them for the episode. Otherwise, it would be like super bright in here. And as I was doing that, my plant fell off of its hook there, and there's dirt all over the place. And then my light just died, but I'm still like, I don't give a fuck.
You don't phase me. That's off my
Nothing.
shoulders.
I'm just like, oh yeah, okay, like that happened. But it's funny that none of it matters. Like I'm like, okay, I'll just clean that up later, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, because it's like you don't sweat the small stuff. And it's all small stuff. Like
Mhm.
things only become a big deal when you make them into a big deal. And it could be things that are quote unquote going wrong or things that you think you're doing wrong. Doesn't matter. Like at any point you can say that this is unacceptable. Enough is enough, Amanda. But it's great when you have a day like today and everything is quote unquote going wrong, but you're not holding on to any of it. Like it's not sticking to you.
Yeah, like why would I let a piece of gum on the street ruin my walk? Like it's so much it really is so insignificant, and being able to let go of things much easier. Like you can actually appreciate things for what they are instead of getting caught up in shit that doesn't matter because you're fixated on an idea of like the perfect walk or whatever, or
Mhm.
like taking things personally when they happen to you,
Mhm.
because none of this shit is personal, and like there's only as much weight as you're willing to pick up.
Yeah.
Because you could literally make that be the end of your world. Like, oh no, these were my favorite pair of shoes. I spent X amount of money on it. Like, that's so fucked up. Why are people spitting their gum out on the street where people can step on it? What the hell? Like, posting on your Instagram story, like, fuck you, asshole. Whoever spit your gum out on the street, I hope you die.
Down with all the bubblegum chewers.
I curse your family for generations. And still you have gum on your shoe.
Right. And they're
Right?
probably, and they
Like,
could have been thinking, oh, I can't swallow this piece of gum because it'll stay stuck in my stomach for years. I remember that, like, I remember somebody telling me that when I was little and I never wanted to swallow like a gum. And I was like, oh no, it's never gonna get out. It can't, you know. And they're like a traumatized adult that like can't even think like I can't it'll, if I don't spit it out, it'll stay stuck in me forever. There's no trash can. What am I gonna do?
I'm
You know?
gonna get I'm gonna get all stuck up. Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
No, that's I used to believe that too. Now I do that all the time.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's like you can't really be mad at the person that spit their gum out. Like there's no point in being mad at the gum or the situation
Mhm.
because that's not going to change. And like any amount of like anger or frustration that you're feeling like
Mhm.
is I guess valid, but the more like the more you go through, I feel even if you only been through a couple things, like your perspective about what you've been through can change to be like, okay, well, I see why that I see like how that was actually beneficial or like what that taught me or whatever. Like I can see how my hardship
Mm.
has like an opposite end and it can be appreciated in a sense. Right?
Mm.
Even something as small as like knocking shit over and like making a huge mess and then having to clean it up can be significant in that it's like symbolic of what we all go through collectively, right? Of just strife constantly and challenge and hardship. And existing is a struggle from the beginning. Like it's always like we
Mhm.
need to participate. Sometimes we need to work hard. We need to sometimes sacrifice things to just keep going and we have to continue to carry on despite anything that happens, right?
Mhm.
And that can be it can feel impossible. And yet we carry on. And
Mhm.
there's something so beautiful about that. I mean, of course, like that's I don't know, one of the parts of existence that is bittersweet for sure. And like accepting uncertainty, that definitely comes up where it's like, well, you take the good with the bad and it all just balances each other out and it all like gives you a complete experience.
Mhm.
But your experience is complete no matter how big or small it is. Like there's infinite depth within all of it and it all can be appreciated for what it is.
Mhm.
And it's enough. Damn, we got real deep real quick right now.
Oh yeah, no, I love that because you know when you had first said like oh your feelings are valid, and I always think about that particular like word sentence, and it's just like your feelings are happening. But when I hear the word valid, it almost feels like your feel like it's almost saying like valid means justified almost, or like I learned that's the connection that I put it to, and that's certainly not the way that everybody sees it. But when I hear your feelings are valid, it's almost like I hear someone saying, oh, your feelings are justified. And I almost would rather hear someone or hear myself say, my feelings are real to me, but that doesn't mean that it looks that way or feels that way to anyone else. You know, it's my feelings are happening. They're absolutely happening. I don't know if they're always valid, or at least that's not the word that I want to use to describe the most of the time. It's like, no, they're just happening. I don't know if they're justified or not. I don't know if they're legitimate or valid, but I know that they're happening. And I know that they could be a real wrench that I into everything that I throw, or it's just something that I don't have to pay too much attention to. And so it's basically like, no matter what I'm feeling, just shut up and keep going. And that's what I end up just telling myself, just shut up and keep going. Oh, an insecurity. Oh, a worry. Oh, an anxiety. Oh, a fear. Just shut up and keep going. And even when I want to congratulate myself, like, oh, this is amazing, great idea. I'm really on the ball today. This is such, this is this. Shut up and keep going. Like, whether I want to go quote unquote negative or positive, good or bad, just shut up and keep going, because no matter what I'm saying to myself, that's not that's not what's happening, like, right in this moment. It's like, my opinion just doesn't have to take up so much space.
Yeah, I think that's important to make that distinction too. Because I meant, yeah, because I meant it more in the sense of like your feelings are valid, like what is already is. So there's no point in like
Hmm.
really worrying about why you're feeling something,
Yeah.
but like the feeling is allowed to exist.
Hmm.
But that doesn't mean your reasoning that your brain is going to come up with for it is correct, right? Like you might think you're pissed off about this certain thing that your friend did because like your friend wasn't thinking about you, or they were like being inconsiderate, or like there's something wrong with them.
Hmm.
That story is bullshit. Your feeling about it is allowed to exist. Um, and you don't have to constantly push away like intense feelings when they rise up, because we are still, it's hard, you can't just like sever your attachment to your ego, it's a part of yourself that will always be there, and that's okay, but you don't have to let it steer your life. And you listening to what it tells you all the time is what eventually leads you into a trap, and then it becomes a prison, because just because you're telling yourself this is the way the world works, this is who you are, this is what's going on, you aren't as willing to step into uncertain territory. Whereas if you can question the thoughts in your head, then that's when growth is possible.
Hmm.
Otherwise, like you're just going to keep repeating the same thing that your brain thinks is comfortable or right. And uncertainty will still be there, so whether you like it or not, things are going to change, but we can, like, we limit ourselves in the way that we live our lives. I feel like we sort of play small when deep down, like, we all we all want to just be fully ourselves. And as long as you're believing your thoughts and your insecurities and ideas about the way that you think your life should be, then you're not gonna be able to see as much as you would otherwise.
Hmm.
And in terms of like potential, or you won't be able to gain as much context, and that's fine. Doesn't make me lose any sleep, but it might make you lose sleep. So
I've definitely lost sleep. Oh my goodness. I because there are definitely nights that I can remember in, like, recently, like the last couple of weeks, just I couldn't sleep because I just had certain thoughts replaying in my mind. And 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 then I just was like, okay, let's sit up then, like, if we want to be up and think about it, then let's just do it. And I did it, and I thought about it for a little bit longer, and then I was like, okay, well, there's not really much I can do right now. So, I finally, like, conceded, and I was like, all right, well, all right, well, then I guess, there's nothing we can do right now. I guess we can sleep. And then we went to sleep, but it's just like I had to let myself run in a circle, like, on purpose, run in a circle for a little bit. And then I got tired. I was like, all right, you done running in circles? Like, yeah, yeah, I'm ready for bed now. I just felt like my own little kid that's like fighting to go to bed. Like, no, I'm not tired. It's like, oh, you're not tired? Okay, then stay up. They're like, oh, what? All right. shit. Just the plan backfired. But it's just, letting myself pout, letting myself throw a tantrum, letting myself run in a circle on purpose, giving myself space to do exactly that, instead of trying to be, mature, instead of trying to be above that, trying to be, so much more enlightened. It's like, no, sometimes I'm just going to be straight up caught up, just caught up in my own sauce. Like, it's just gonna happen. And I'm not always gonna try to run out of that experience the moment that I notice that it's happening. It's just, okay, let it happen. And I feel much more relaxed when I see that happening. And it's just that I'm more relaxed as I'm watching myself tense up. So it's not that the relaxation just takes up all the space in that experience. It's just that it adds another layer to that experience of being tense.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. Um, it's funny watching yourself get caught up and knowing you're getting caught up and being like, okay, well, here we go. And yeah, like I now can mitigate the fluctuations in my experience by stepping in when I notice things are getting out of hand and sort of bring myself back towards center. But still, like sometimes when I'm being a little crazy or just a little like off balance, I allow myself to lean in and be like, okay, this is when I get to experience this end of the spectrum. So let
Yeah.
me soak this in for what it is. And even though this isn't how I want to live my life all the time, at least I know what this is like,
Hmm.
and that will influence the way that I operate the rest of the time, right? Like, for example, I have gotten way too drunk enough times in my life that I know that I know that I don't want to feel that way anymore. And even though like it promises a good time, whatever, sometimes you want to go crazy a little and let loose. It's not worth it. And so the way that I drink now is very different than how it used to be. And that's just a small example, but that's how it works with everything in life. I feel like you have to sort of push it a little bit too far to understand where your limits are, or like it's not going to be the same for everybody. Like everybody has a different relationship with literally everything.
Hmm.
Just because the way we all think and just are is very different and unique. And so it's literally just up to you to decide in your life how you want to feel and like what you want your experience to be like within the realm of things that you have influence over. And I think that's maybe more than sometimes we allow ourselves to see, because it can feel nice to play the victim and be like, oh, well, I can't because yada, yada, yada. Like so many reasons. Like we all could have come up with infinite reasons why we can't do things.
Hmm.
But like really, the only one stopping you from at least trying is yourself. And it's funny that I still do this constantly, even though I like can see it. But at the same time, I'm like, well, maybe I get it. It's just gonna take a while for me to like really get it, And like eventually, my behavior probably will change once I bang my head against the wall a couple more times. And like
Hmm.
that's not to skirt out responsibility, um because I know it's still like I could change right now theoretically, but that's not really how human behavior works. And I feel like a lot of the changes we go through are more longer processes, and we don't, at least I give myself a hard time for just being young and like having to go through experiences that I judge myself for.
Hmm.
And I like, I don't know, like sometimes I wish I was more mature and had my shit together a little bit more, but I'm like, I'll get there. I know I'll get there one day. And I'm getting there, right? Like I'm growing every single day, but sometimes I can get caught up in ideas about how quickly I think I should be growing. And like once I realize I'm doing something, I expect myself to fix it immediately. and that's just it hasn't worked for it hasn't worked for me. Usually a lot of the lessons I learn, it takes me a while to really get it.
Hmm. Oh my
And that's
goodness.
okay. Some things I learn fast. Like I can pick up a job really quick, or like, I pick up lyrics on the fly, whatever, or whatever. Lessons in life takes a little bit longer.
Hmm. But I love the example you just gave about how you easily pick up lyrics. And I would like to ask, is that something that you are normally really relaxed when you're doing?
Yeah.
And so I think all of us, I think about this for myself too. I think the easiest time I have learning something is the least stressed I am about learning that thing. But the minute that I put pressure and expectations, now it feels like mind is blank. I can't even remember it. You have a presentation, you've been practicing, you've been memorizing it, but as soon as you get in front of the group, you just space out, you just blank out. There's nothing else. And so just reading the comments. Oh my goodness, I love it. I just love it. In high school, someone had come up with blacking out and browning out, and blacking out was like having no memory at all, and browning out was like you sort of remembered a little bit, but like very very little. And the description that someone gave in the comments about browning out was like, that is a nightmare scenario that I would never want to go through. So I'm so glad that my version of browning out that I learned about in high school is has nothing to do with shit like feces at all. It was just a variation. For black on the memory scale was nothing, and brown was a little something. And so Jazz has some great follow-up questions. Why a small group? No, but I do think like the amount of relaxation when we're learning something definitely impacts how well or how easily it's just retained, because there's no pressure. Your brain feels relaxed when it hears the music, and you're having fun and you're relaxed, and so your brain is just absorbing those lyrics like nothing, with no effort whatsoever. So I love that. But we put so much of this pressure to be always like this idealized version of ourselves that just never makes a mistake. But to never make a mistake, you'd have to know everything, and that is just impossible because we're not in that state where we are learning. And so it doesn't matter if it takes you, more than one time to master something. But we have this expectation that you need to be one and done. You are introduced to a topic and you mastered it by the end of the first introduction, which is crazy. But we don't see it that way.
Yeah, I think for a long time, I thought in order to be good, like exceptionally good at something, you had to be like born with some sort of special talent. And that's why I used to get down on myself, because I was like pretty decent at a lot of different things, but I didn't feel like I had one thing that was like really special about me. And I was like, I wish I had like a supreme talent or something. But like that's lazy as fuck to sit there and be like, oh man, I wish I was like born a prodigy at piano, rather than going and fucking practicing. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Um, so yeah, like literally anything that I've been good at is just because I put time in it and energy into it.
Hmm.
And that's the case for literally everybody. Like even if you are born, like maybe you have like perfect pitch or something. There are
Hmm.
people that are born with that like ability to just like naturally pick something up
Hmm.
really easily, and like we all have our different skill sets that are like very, and so maybe that would give you a natural edge. But if you never practice, if you never like actually put your time in, that's not going to go anywhere anyway. So, like, just sitting there and wishing that reality was different than it was is really just a waste of time. It's and it's an avoidance mechanism. And that's something I've had to confront about myself, is that I tend to avoid things when I know that it's gonna be like a long process or whatever. Like I just don't really. I'll like avoid doing the work sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not to give myself no credit. Like I do think I am more dedicated than I give myself credit for. I still am hard on myself because I'm not like the most dedicated, and because I know that I theoretically could get good at doing anything,
Mm-hmm.
but also like I I don't feel the need to like put an extreme amount of pressure on myself to go in any one direction. And so sometimes I can struggle to find like the balance of how much to be pushing myself and how much to be letting myself go with the flow. And I don't think I'm ever going to reach center. Like I think I'm always going to be one too far one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Like and I think that's because there is no like perfect center. There's no like completely balanced or correct way to live at all. And even when I think about like getting really good at something, there's no endpoint to that.
Mm-hmm.
And so like it really isn't about any specific goals or any specific things we do in our lives ever. It's just about like how we feel when we're doing them or like how we feel just existing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of realizing that it doesn't really matter what I'm doing. So I don't know. So I'm just here vibing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like, holy fuck, I don't know what I'm doing at all. My life is like I just there's so many things that I stress myself out over when I like am overthinking and believing my thoughts. But in reality, everything just is. That
Mm-hmm.
sounds hella corny, but like it is. Everything just is.
I love corny. Keep it coming. Um, I just it's it's just in that process of taking things too far is where you learn what balance means to you. And there as much as we hear that there is a right and a wrong way, if 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 that is a perspective that we want to take, then we have to put right and wrong in the context of you. You know what, there might not be a right way for everyone that is a one size fits all, but there is a right way that's authentic to you. There is, there is your way of doing things, not one way, the best way, the safest way, the right way. There's your way of doing something. There's your way of living. And that's going to change as you change. And so I love the way that Chicharito had put in the episode called God Mode, and how he was saying that in on the way to accomplishing a goal, you, the goal seeker, are changing. And even when you get to that goal that you've accomplished, you're not the same person who wanted to accomplish that goal at the beginning of that journey. And so I think that, and so you might change your mind on the way. You feel, as an example, like you feel inspired to learn tap dancing, right? All of a sudden you just feel this desire to tap dance, this incredible curiosity, this incredible interest. And in your pursuit of taking tap dancing classes, you find out about flamingo dancing. All of a sudden you feel more confident in your ability as a dancer, that now flamenco dancing may not have been something you considered before, but now that you have more faith and trust in yourself as a person who could learn any dance, now flamenco dancing is on the table. Oh, lay, like you can, you and you might not that you wouldn't have, but you might not have considered that particular dance because that might have seemed out of your wheelhouse. But on the way to pursuing tap dancing, now other dances are in your awareness, and then you change and you let go of the goal or the dream of becoming a tap dancer, and now the dream is to become a flamingo dancer. Are you a failure at tap dancing because you decided to let that go? No, you changed. And so as you change, your goals change. And so you don't have to cross a definitive line in the sand. You don't have to cross this finish line to be a success, to be, worthy, or to be valuable. It's just that you are changing where you put your attention, your time, and your effort, because it's your life. So you spend it how you'd like to. You live your life your way. And so I like that much more than the way that I used to think of goals, which was that the goal meant something about me and accomplishing the goal meant something else. And so I very rarely wanted to change paths because I thought that that meant something about me, the person taking each step.
That's definitely a feeling I relate to, of like wanting to have the job that looks good on paper, to have the respect, to succeed. Like, I've been chasing this idea that was never fully fleshed out. It was just kind of like a vague idea of like a prestigious job that was worthy of respect, and that, like, I could come back to the high school reunion in 20 years and look down on everybody, and be like, yeah, I'm a surgeon. Like, I always had big dreams, right? I wanted to do something impactful. Like, I wanted to leave my mark, and I put a lot of pressure on myself for my whole life to work as hard as I can and have my shit together and be disciplined and get to that goal. And that goal changed a lot as I grew up. And I think in college it became like sort of really vague. I knew I was interested in what I was studying. I studied music and psychology, so like I liked my classes. Like, there were some, like, obvious, I didn't like taking like chemistry and stuff, but like even that, I'm glad I took it. Anywho, I'm getting off topic here. um and I graduated, and then I'm kind of like, okay, well, what would that dream job even look like? Like, what would success even look like? And I could keep trying to come up with ideas, but it keeps changing so much that I'm like, okay, well, there's almost no point in fixating on that. Like, I'm only really concerned with short-term goals because I don't know how I'm going to be like after I finish the next thing, but I can only focus on one thing at a time. So I might as well just be like, okay, what's the next step I want to take? That's it. Like, it could be like, okay, maybe I want to go on a trip to this place, or maybe I want to work this kind of job next, or like maybe I want to try and make my own business, or I don't know where I'm going at all. And so it's just when an opportunity presents itself to me and I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I'll do it. And it seems to be working out. Like, and when when you realize that nothing's going to be what you think it's going to be, the reality of things is never what it is when you actually step into that. um it ends up being your life, and there's like an infinite amount of depth and like appreciation that can be had. And like, our experiences can give us so much if we're willing to look, and appreciate them for what we are. So yeah, it's beautifuler than a motherfucker, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool to watch myself unfold in a way that I never would have expected.
It's beautiful. I love it. I am cheering you on, Jackie. I'm like, let's get it, Jackie. Oh my goodness. And I loved in the comments, you're a prodigy at being Jackie. And I totally agree with that. Like, and I love the way that Dr. Seuss puts it, there's no one youer than you. There's no one youer than you. Like, it's just no one can do it. Just can't happen. So I love seeing people and seeing myself and just seeing that that embrace, that self embrace of just of everything that you are in this moment. And even though you don't know what that means or where what direction that could go in, because it can go in any direction. And I think that's amazing. I was messing with the DU Life troubleshooter on ChatGPT. I'll put the QR code in case anybody wants to check it out, and just asking it about, certain things that I was like running in circles in my mind about. And it always just, you know, gently, but with a good amount of a reminder that it always circles back to you. The way that you think of yourself, the way that you judge it, the way that you perceive it, it always circles back to you and what you're holding on to and the assumptions that you've made. And as much as I want to be like, yeah, but they were a real jerk, and it's like, yeah, that could be true, but is it that they're a jerk because they only wanted to be a jerk to you, or because you're taking what they did personally? And it's a little bit of both. Like, as much as somebody could be a straight up butthead to me, like, it's just that it's not as personal, even when it feels incredibly personal. It feels like someone went out of their way to, rain on my parade, or to be a barrier to me, or to not collaborate with me. And it's like, no, that they're still doing what's best for them. And I could, I absolutely could fault them for that, or I can empathize. And when I empathize, it makes it so hard to judge them, because I can see exactly where I have done a similar thing. And where I was when I did that similar thing was that I was very caught up in the idea of me, and either protecting that idea, defending that idea, or comparing that idea to what I thought someone else's idea of. So it's so funny too that, like, I will think of how someone else would judge me, and that's me making them into a judgmental person. That's the only way that that works for me to do that. So the DU Life troubleshooter has been a great tool that I've been using. And when I ask it, so what do you think about this? And it's like, well, have you considered that, you're taking this shit personally? And it says it way more eloquently than that. But the way that I summarize the troubleshooter's answers to me is just that, like, bring it back to you. What are you holding on to? What do you think should be happening? And that's probably the source of your suffering, or the source of your discomfort.
Yeah. And it's so impersonal. Like, the troubleshooter is an AI, right? It has nothing to gain by like telling you what you want to hear. So it's just like, hey, all of this is all the shit that you probably aren't considering because it doesn't match up with the way that you see yourself in the world. But like, your perspective is incredibly limited. And so here's what you might not be thinking about. So yeah. Love the troubleshooter for that. Also really random. I loved how I love how you said even when someone's being a butthead to you, I'm bringing back the word butthead. We're all buttheads. We have our heads up our own asses,
Those
and all
middle
we can
school
see is our
insults
own
are
shit.
great. Yeah. I love middle school insults. It's like, what was another good one that's like, I am rubber and you're glue. So everything you say bounces off of me and sticks to you. Oh my God. I used to love I used to feel so clever, and I used to feel so sassy when I said something like that. Like I came up with that saying, so I think of like I'm like, in that frame, I definitely call people buttheads. People were absolutely buttheads in middle school. And so why not? They're still a butthead, or they're still, what's another good one that I brought back? Was calling someone a crybaby. Super all inclusive, right? Because sometimes when you would call somebody like a bitch, or you'd call somebody um uh oh like oh I guess no I
Like
guess
a pussy.
yeah, I was gonna say, like, I was thinking like another word than bitch. I was like, yeah, is bitch and pussy and all those things. I'm like, it always sounded like very fixated on
It's
and
gendered.
gendered, for the
Yeah.
women.
It's like
And I'm
pussies are
like,
strong, first off. Also, I don't know if I'm allowed to be saying pussy online.
I know there was a little hesitation. There's a little hesitation.
I said it with my full chest multiple times. So no, but
But
yeah.
crybaby is all inclusive.
Yes.
Anybody could be a crybaby, and everyone still hates being called a crybaby. Like, I don't care what age you are, whether you are 12 or you are 62. Somebody calls you a crybaby, you're like, I'm not a crybaby. Like,
Being called
immediately,
a
like, what's your
crybaby makes
response?
me wanna cry.
You're like, I'm not a crybaby. Well, it
I'm
sounds like
not
you're
a crybaby, why would you say that?
it does. It does. So that's always like, that's a really all-inclusive kind of like insult that's a little playful when it's not being said maliciously, like butthead and crybabies. Those are my go-to now. You being a real butthead, you're like, butthead? I haven't been called a butthead since I had a lunchbox. What year is it?
Yeah, nobody's gonna see that coming.
No, no.
Like, yeah, people aren't throwing around the word butthead as much as they should be, honestly.
No, 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 no. But I did try to make something that was gendered in the other way, and so I would say that someone was a sensitive sack because balls are so sensitive, and it's like it only takes like a cold gust of wind and they shrivel up, like and pussies can take a pounding and keep on trucking, and so balls are so like sensitive, and like you flick them and they're like collapsing. So it was like, you're a sensitive little sack, but it didn't stick, as much as I said it out and about, it didn't have that shelf life, that lasting power. But crybaby and butthead have been around for ages, and so I was just pulling off of you know the tried and true rack.
There's always dickhead too.
I know, but it doesn't sting the same way that crybaby and butthead do.
Yeah,
Like,
it really
there's something
doesn't.
about them that like they sting in another way, like a crybaby. I'm not a, like I remember being like almost assaulted by the word when I was like in elementary school and middle school. It's like a crybaby. No, no, I'm nothing. I'm nothing
No,
like that. I'll
no.
go right now to show you I'm not a crybaby. I'm not a weakling.
I will die on this hill.
The
Oh my
power of words, man, like the way that we give such power to language, and the word bitch, I used to love that word because I used to love being that, or what I thought that was. So if somebody called me a bitch, I'd be like, oh, I'm so glad you caught up. I thought you didn't notice all of this hard work that I've been doing. See the B right there, capital B right there, don't you forget it, sir.
I'm a bad bitch. I'm a bad bitch.
He's
I'm a
the
bad
word. He's the word.
um yeah, but then there was also a period in my life where if somebody called me a bitch, like if a man called me a bitch, I would want to kill him. I would see red. I'd be like, that's so disrespectful. Like,
Mhm.
oh my God. Now like I don't know. I'm not gonna say words don't get to me still. I think they will always. I mean, that's also settling on a certainty too. Maybe they won't always hurt
Mhm.
me. And there's also that saying like sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
No.
And yet I was definitely letting words hurt me a lot. I remember the kids like there was this one boy in elementary school who would always call me Jack A, like implying jackass. And
Uh,
I was so offended by it. I was so offended
he calls
by
you
it.
a butthead.
Yeah, I should have called him a butthead for sure. Um, but yeah, he was calling me Jack A over and over. And I remember writing a letter to my mom to tell her about this. And we had this like whole meeting about it. But that's just a random tangent. Basically, I've always been sensitive. And less and less recently, just knowing that I don't even know myself and like I'm not anything like any single person's opinion of me isn't the end all be all, even my own.
Yeah.
And I could be the worst person ever on any given on one day and then like a fucking saint then another. And I exist in all those variations and I'm not going to ever sit up on my high horse and say like I'm a good person. Like
Mm-mm.
I do my best and I would say I'm a very empathetic. Like I feel things very deeply for other people. And like honestly everything. I used to cry when like my family would kill bugs and shit. And I've always just felt very deeply about things. But still, like, even out of a place of love, you can do really horrible things. And like somebody can perceive you, or maybe it's not objectively a horrible thing, but somebody can perceive it that way, right?
Mhm.
So, like, I forgot where I started there, but yeah. What were we talking about before?
Yeah, just, how much we can take things personally and
Oh,
how words can impact us. And I cry
oh
all the
yes.
time. I definitely, out of my immediate family, between my mom, my brother, my dad, I was always the crier, and I got made fun of in my home by my family for being the biggest crier in the house, because I I worshiped them, and I thought that they were the coolest, most wonderful, most powerful, most interesting group of people. And I looked up to them and I put them on an altar. And so when they said that I was not meeting their expectations, it crushed me. When they said that I wasn't doing something, when they made fun of me, it crushed me. And so I would absolutely be distraught, and I'd be crying, and I'd be so inconceivable. And I would just be so inconsolable. I would just be so distraught, and then they were like, well, why can't you be like us? We don't cry, we're tough. And it's like, well, you don't have your heroes crushing you, right? That's the difference, guys, is that you guys are my heroes and you're telling me that I'm not living up to what you want me to be. And that crushed me. But then I ended up going into the other extreme, and I became more like them, and I would just say things to be the person who said something nasty first. And I embrace being like the villain, the asshole, the aggressor. And I embrace being that because I also fit in with them more, but I also, like, in some ways, earned their respect. And I earned, what I thought was respect from them, and respect from other people. But it came at a high price, because I was always on alert. I was always ready to battle someone. I was always taking everything as an invitation to an argument, to defend. I was always taking things as a hill to die on. And that made things incredibly difficult in terms of connecting with people. And I had lost, or I guess I was out of touch with what I was so used to doing as a little girl, which was asking a million questions, being super interested in people, being super gregarious, wanting to connect with people, wanting to get to know them. Like, I pulled their book off of this infinite universal shelf in reality. And so I got back into being curious about people, because people no longer were the enemy, and they were just books on a shelf that I could read. And so I'm so glad that I didn't maintain that viewpoint from them, from growing up, because I I like people, and they still annoy me, and they still can piss me off, and they can still inspire me, and they still crack me up, and it's like, it's a full package deal. And so, but people aren't the enemy, and life is not the enemy, and discomfort is not the enemy. It's just a lifelong companion that I can either walk beside, or that I can try to run away from pointlessly.
Beautifully said, Amanda. Yeah. Um, Other people are just what they are, and you can accept that for what it is and still, I feel like, get caught up. But then you can recognize that any reaction that you're having to anything that they're doing, that's because you're investing your energy and you're attaching to them in some way, right? And so otherwise, you don't care what somebody across the universe is doing that you don't know, right? It's the extent to which we're influenced by other people and like their words can have a real effect on how we feel is when we care about them in some sense, or like, we're comparing ourselves to them, or like we're attached to them in some sort of way. And so when you can see that for what it is, you can let it go a little bit easier, and not get mad at that person necessarily for just living their life and doing what made sense to them at the time. And like, newsflash, the only person's world that revolves around you is your own. So nobody else's behavior can really be personal, because nobody really knows you. Like, even if they're trying their best, they might still hurt you. just because they don't actually understand all of your intricacies, and you know, you can't expect them to. And expecting other people to treat us the way that we want to is not necessarily realistic. And that's why you have to kind of speak your boundaries and like step in and like take your power back, I feel like, in relationships, and stand up for yourself, because other people will project shit onto you and you'll do the same thing to them. And like, the best that you can do is guarantee that one of you is aware of it, right? And it can be you. And so then you can get yourself out of any situation, or like, you always have the power to change course, or at least change the way that you're thinking about something. And you never have to let anything be the end all be all with influencing how you feel and how you live, because you're the only one that has to live with those consequences. Amanda dipped out. What happened, Amanda? Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O. Amanda? I don't know. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Anyway, yeah, that hour flew by. That was really fucking fun. Hopefully I'm not the one who's frozen. I really can't tell. So, oh my gosh, I'm laughing so much at the comments, you guys. Andrew with the yo mama jokes. And I just so appreciate everybody that's tuning in. So Amanda is frozen, it seems. Okay, maybe I'll just end the call here. I mean, we are at the hour mark. We usually would maybe go over a couple minutes. I'm down to just keep riffing for a second or two, but also I'm ready to take a nap, to be honest with you guys. But thank you all for tuning in. And we mentioned the California retreat earlier. There's still a couple tickets left. Go check that shit out. It's going to be a fantastic time. And we do this every Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. Hey, girl. Wait, are you back?
Yeah. My computer froze, and I was like, oh no.
Oh my God.
Price a goat. What do you want? Name your price.
I was literally just wrapping up. I was like talking about the California retreat. I was like, okay, we might as well like just call it.
I think it was happy that I was willing to sacrifice a goat. It allowed me a few more minutes. I was like, oh, okay, next time, two goats, I promise.
Yeah, and we have due game night on Sunday on the Discord. So check that shit out. Mm-hmm. And this was a really fun chat, Amanda.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, minus user error over here, striking again.
Wait, what happened?
My computer just froze, and then the screen went black, and then it came back, and I was like, "I name your price. I will, I'll do whatever you say." But no, it came back, so I was like, "Okay, well, all right. Maybe it just wanted a reminder that I was at its mercy, and I would do, I would pay any price to jump back on."
Uncertainty makes her presence known yet again.
Indeed. I love it.
Indubitably.
But yes, no, this was an amazing chat. Do you want to wrap it up? I know you have to work in a little bit. So maybe this is a good place to wrap it up. Mm-hmm. But definitely join the Discord game night. I'm pretty sure that we're going to be gaming on StarCraft 2 tonight. Jackie, definitely look forward to you joining the video game adventure, because you've got everything, I think, the keyboard, mouse, and a computer. You just got to download the game. And then we'll be ready to game all 4 co-hosts against the AI, and then eventually against humans.
Yeah, the AI won't know what hit him. I actually still need to get a mouse.
Oh, you do? Okay, okay.
We got to order one of those on Amazon or whatever, on Jeff Bezos' internet.
Or go to Best Buy, or you can buy a mouse at like a Best Buy in person, or a
True.
computer shop. I do try my best to try to buy things in person every now and again, like my TV. Definitely bought that in person, and the mouse I'm borrowing from work. Don't tell the boss.
Hey, I'm no snitch. I'm no snitch. Let's get one thing straight.
I would never think that of you, Jack. You're right. Ride or die. I have no doubt in your ability. And that
All
was
right.
that was awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. And we'll see you next week, Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
All right. Peace out, everyone. Have an amazing